says what everyone else is thinking.
I'm dedicated to it. I can't be stopped.
These are very heartbreaking times with the loss of life, loss of American life on the Potomac. In Washington, D.C., we're praying and we're grieving, and we're going to support those who are shattered by the collision of a Black Hawk helicopter and a commercial airliner. And they've recovered all the bodies from the commercial airliner, but I haven't heard about the U.S. Army helicopter crew yet. So God bless those that are grieving this morning. We share that pain and suffering, but it's important to note that I have General Mike Flynn, a U.S. Army. Now, he thinks he's retired, but I happen to know General Flynn. Bring Mike Flynn and his sister Mary on here, because this is the Ted Nugent Spirit Campfire. And if ever there was some coal-poking spirit campfire blood brothers of the great spirit of the Constitution, it's Mike and Mary. And Mike, you're not retired. Tell me how that U.S. constitutional oath cannot be retired. Welcome to the Spirit
It can never
Campfire.
be broken. You have to live. You have to live your life by it when you take it. Especially, I mean, for a guy like me, I was born on an Army base. My sister Mary was born on an Army base. That's how far back we go for serving our country. And when you take that oath cannot be broken. And you live it. You live your life by it. And I still do. So you're right. I mean, service is not something that ends. Service to nation is never something that should ever end. Every single one of us as citizens has a responsibility to continue to serve our country, and certainly my service to the military, and then to Donald J. Trump, will continue.
Well, how about this, Mike and Mary? Do you feel a sense of overwhelming, thank God, relief that we have a commander-in-chief that actually qualifies as a commander-in-chief? Mary, growing up with your brother Mike, this military warrior guy, by the way, you know how much I love you, Mike. You know how much I love the Warriors. I have taken that constitutional oath now for 40 years as a sheriff of Lake County, Michigan, and those words have spirit iron. Mary, as you're growing up, born on a military base. By the way, you and I are connected because my dad was a U.S. Army cavalry drill sergeant in World War II in Korea, and he raised me like he was training a horse for the cavalry. So I know what it's like to grow up in a military environment. But explain to how you watched Mike maintain that oath to the Constitution in his continued service to this great nation.
I'm very proud of my whole family, my brothers, my other brother, Charlie, my brother, Michael, my other older brother, Bill, who served, and my sister's husband. I mean, we have a military family, and we have our parents that were, that we were brought up in the military, and that's the only way they could handle us because we were wild. We were a wild bunch, and that's the way we were. And I'm very proud. And I watch him. I watched him go through the persecution, and all of us, stand strong. We stand by each other no matter what. And that's what we need to do as Americans. We need to stand for this country.
And our father whose name was Charlie Flynn. He was a World War II vet, part of Patton's army that went over on D-Day. He survived, and what a great man. And he was a sergeant. He was a Sergeant E5 at the time of World War II, and he ended up retiring as a master sergeant from the United States Army. So we have a long legacy in our family of service to country in uniform, Ted, and we're blessed because of it.
Well, Mike and Mary, you know that we're related that way because the way my dad raised us kids was love combined with discipline. I think discipline got the most important part of his upbringing. But what we're talking about here is that we're going to share a wonderful campfire, figuratively speaking, in Mar-a-Lago come February 18th, just a couple weeks from now. And I have been humbled and honored and inspired and stimulated and so appreciative to be the recipient of a Defender of Freedom Award. But before you explain that, General Flynn, you know that I've never defended freedom. I don't defend the Second Amendment. I don't defend hunting. I don't defend freedom. I promote it and celebrate it, which is why you love me, because every time somebody tries to debate me about freedom or gun rights or the First Amendment or the Constitution, I literally eat their family tree and spit toxic sawdust back in their face, because you can't debate Ted Nugent with my crowbar of truth, logic, logic, and common sense. Tell me about this big awards ceremony and some of the recipients who had the balls to stand up for freedom and the American dream, which is not ambiguous. Even the author of Wango Tango can figure that stuff out. So what's that event going to be like at Mar-a-Lago?
Yeah, so I'll start off, and I'll let Mary, because Mary's the one that's putting it all together. But I will tell you what, and just like you, we do not live on our heels, and we do not live on our knees. We live on our toes, and we stand on our feet, and we lean forward into everything. So this is not, you're right, this is not about defending something. This is about promoting American values. And that's what really that event is about. But I'll let Mary get into a little bit of it.
Yeah, so the spirit of American exceptionalism is one of the, ideas that we need to basically re-educate our country, our citizens about being exceptional. That's what we are. We're unique in the world theater. And so that's what we're going to do, Ted. And you are a big part of that. Defending freedom is very important to stand by and stand strong and be brave and courageous. And we want the American people to see you and others, who have done that. So we want them to be motivated. They got a great election. They stood strong for this election that we just had. They put the Senate and the Congress. They gave this great power to Trump and his administration and to change this country. And I want them to continue their fearlessness. So we're going to celebrate American exceptionalism and re-educate our citizens.
Well, what you're talking about, Mary, it's so simple. When you have God-given rights, individual rights guaranteed by a document called the U.S. Constitution, the Bill of Rights, Declaration of Independence, we put an end to the history and the global slavery status quo. We were the first people that gave the finger to the king. We don't believe in kings. We don't believe in emperors. We don't believe in despots. We don't believe in Führers. We don't believe in slave drivers. We are given this gift of life from God as individuals, and the founding fathers just stopped for a minute and went, the king won't let us say what we believe in. Let's write that down. We'll call that, he won't let us choose our religion or have a free press or to demand accountability from the government. Let's make that the First Amendment. See, I'm just a guitar player, but I could have wrote the Constitution because I think, and I got to tell you, I know I'm getting this award with some other great patriots, Russell Brand and Tyrus, and I think Mike Tyson is going to be there, and people who have stood up. But you know what, Mike and Mary, as you talk about being at Mike's side during his people persecuting and lying and hating, that is a badge of honor. Because if you look at the source of the people that hate and lie about Ted Nugent, why would you want them to like you? They're just rotten, soulless, nasty, freedom-hating, communist, Marxist idiots. We don't want those people to like us until they reform and join the truth, logic, and common sense. So, Mike, you know how much I love you and standing up. U.S. Army, we have a Black Hawk Down in the Potomac. I get to train with the original Black Hawk Down heroes from Somalia, and the Army Rangers and the Green Berets and the Navy SEALs and the Delta Force. I'm the luckiest guitar player in the world. But what is your take, without all the information yet available, how a Black Hawk helicopter, the masters of this craft, over a commercial landing area in Washington, D.C., what the hell happened?
Yeah. So very briefly, and I would just say, for the souls that were lost, we want to send up our prayers to them. All the families, people that within 30 seconds that plane was going to land, and everybody was probably happy, and they were going to be doing whatever they were going to do, right? So the very first thing that happened last night when I found out about it, I got a call immediately from a former guy who's in Special Forces friend of mine. And, we had a long conversation, about 30 minutes long on the phone, as it was all unfolding on TV. And we basically felt in our gut that something is not right. For this to have occurred, there had to have been a whole series of mistakes. This is not one mistake. This is a whole series of mishaps. And my gut, Ted, tells me that something is not right, about this. Never mind the fact that it's a tragedy, but something is not right about this. And I'm going to get to the bottom. Personally, I will get to the bottom of it. And I know that there's going to be some great people that are going to be involved in the investigation and all that, but I just feel like something is not right. I have flown that pattern many, many times. My office, when I was the director of the Defense Intelligence Agency, was right across from runway 33. I mean, I saw planes coming in there every time. I saw the pattern all the time. And again, I used to catch a helicopter ride right outside of my office, right where that occurred, and fly that pattern. But that flight pattern is much different in the way it's supposed to be versus what we saw. So there's going to be a lot of speculation. There's going to be a lot of things online. What I would tell everybody, Ted, is everybody needs to be steady. We have the right people in the White House, and we have the right people in the Department of Defense. We don't necessarily have the right people over at the FAA yet. That'll change. The Secretary of Transportation is going to be involved in this. I was with him last week, and good guy. So we have the right leaders involved that are going to make sure that the right answers are discovered. And I do believe that we will know more and more. And I loved President Trump's, he did a Truth Social post last night, and he's right. He's absolutely right in that post, and everybody ought to go dig it up and read it, because Trump is right. Too many mistakes.
Well, Mike and Mary, I think at this point in time, as we approach February of 2025, where it's the ultimate breath of relief that we have a commander-in-chief that will be honest and serve we the people. And the transparency will be a new agenda, because it hasn't been for 4 years, and for many, many years, whether you talk about the Warren Report or the Branch Davidian horror story, or that Lon Horiachi was able to kill Vicky Weaver because a shotgun was an eighth of an inch too short. I mean, there's so many tragedies, but at least we have an administration now with Duff, death, and the great President Donald Trump, where for the first time in many years, I believe we'll get the answers. Mike and Mary, God bless you. I'll see you at Mar-a-Lago.